I'm gonna tell you right now, it is not going to look exact to her doll because it's just not working out for me. And I also don't have her beautiful brown skin. I mean, like, not to say my skin's not beautiful or any other shade at that matter, but it's not gonna look the same because we're not the same skin tone. But that's okay. Since I don't want to make this video too long, I'm going to split it up and do 2 separate videos. One video will show you how I created the wig and hat, and I will stick the wing creation and the makeup tutorial in this one. If you haven't watched the other, you can flip-flop, and if you don't care, then whatever. Her Amanita doll creation was the very first one I ever seen, and which is why I ended up subscribing to her in the first place, and I always wanted to do that look, and then somebody requested it, but the whole process has been a super adventure. It took forever because I had issues and trouble when I was trying to order green contacts, which I never got, so I'm sticking these ones in my eyes. And then I had to wait for the cellophane to come in through the mail, and then I ran out, so then I had to wait for more, and then I couldn't really go get it because of work. So it's been a while since I started this. I wanted to do this outside and like have a whole, you know how I do with my videos, but it keeps raining when I'm ready to go do it, so I'm just gonna do it in my room. So before we begin, click on Dollightful's channel and subscribe to her and subscribe to me too if you want to. And yeah, we will get into it. For this part, I literally have zero idea of how I'm gonna do this because I don't know what the I'm doing. I tried to look up videos, like tutorials on YouTube, and they're not really helping. Like, they're helping, but then they're not, because I still don't, I don't know. Another little note. With the hat, just be really careful because it is paper mache. It's basically like a piñata, and it was on the wig stand and my cat knocked it over, so it broke. I mean, it wasn't bad enough to where I couldn't fix it. I just put tape over it to try and like smooth out the crack, and then I literally had to repaint the whole thing because I couldn't find an orange that matched because it was mixed in the first place. So that's a little tip to keep if you are mixing colors. Make sure you mix a lot and enough to where you have extra just in case emergencies happen, and then you don't have to redo the whole thing because you can't get the shade right. So again, no idea what I'm doing. I don't know where to begin. I don't know. I mean, I guess the first thing would be to trace out the wing pattern, and I at least have Dollightful's pattern that she did, so I'm going to try and basically create larger wings this way, but it's a bit more complicated than that because since they are for human size, they will be much heavier, so I don't have a screw in my back, so I can't really stick it in there and it stay up that way, so I don't know what kind of like frame I'm doing. I don't have a dress that matches hers, so I won't be able to really do the U-frame for like a corset because then it won't stay up. I saw another one, somebody did like a circular one and they had straps, so I don't know the design for the back. I also don't know whether or not I'm going to follow Dollightful's pattern on making them movable. This is for a larger body, so I don't know if this will work or not because the screws are kind of small, so I would literally have to make the loop tight enough to where this would sit, but then I don't think that it'll be stable enough to hold the weight, so I might end up just making it stationary. I have, what size is this? A 16 gauge wire. It's pretty sturdy, pretty thick. I think this will be strong enough to kind of hold and light enough to where it won't like bring it down. And I got it off of Amazon for like one of those add-ons, so it was like $5, so I bought like a bunch of them. Green, wow. Black electrical tape if I want to, I don't know, because her wires were black. And this is silver, and I don't want to paint it. Like, I don't think it'll work. I also have black duct tape just in case. Wire cutters, a lighter, because I don't want to use a candle, because I don't feel like, scissors, a ruler for some odd reason. I just picked up things that I think that I might need, might not. I literally just, I can't stress this enough. I don't know what I'm doing. Chalk to trace the wings, or a pencil, and then a marker to darken it so I can cut it out properly. I also have a blow dryer. I don't have a heat gun, so this is as good as it's gonna get. And I have an iron. I did not get parchment paper. It is in my kitchen. Well, it's wax paper. And what else would she have done? I'm trying to remember her tutorial off of the top of my head, and it's not clicking right now. I have cellophane wrap, which is the iridescent shade, and I probably will end up painting the inside pink, so I have pink acrylic paint in my paint bin. And I found this paper from the dollar store, so I think I'm going to trace out my wings pattern on this and then see how it goes.
From doll to human ratio, her shorter wings stuck out about 2 feet from her body, and her larger wings maybe 3 feet from each side. So I measured the length of the paper, giving a little room for mistakes, and I cut it off the roll and taped it to the ground. Chalk was easier to use, and it allowed me to erase easily without ruining the paper. Once I was happy with the outline, I traced over it with a black marker. Shaping the wire was the tricky part, so I used the jewelry pliers to bend and shape the wire, masking tape to hold it down, wire cutters to separate the pieces, and duct tape to attach the wire pieces together. I gave each wing piece extra wire because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Since I wanted to make sure it was strong enough to hold, I bent and twisted the wires to attach them together. I also wrapped each wing with the black duct tape to change its color and give it more stability. Once I connected both sets, I wrapped the middle pieces with duct tape. I decided to go with a square frame because that made sense to me, so I measured quadruple the desired length so I can wrap it around the 2 wing pieces, giving it enough strength to stand strong. It didn't feel stable enough to me, so I made the wires crisscross through the middle. Then I wrapped it again with duct tape. is where I understand completely why Dollightful didn't use wire in the inside of her frame. It's difficult to seal, and if the wires bend, it will reopen air pockets and the cellophane will separate, so you really have to be careful. Parchment paper didn't work for me, and the cellophane wouldn't stick on low heat, so I steamed it on high with an old shirt in between, and I moved quickly. This is where you really have to be careful because you're handling fire. Make sure you're not on or around anything flammable, and you're careful not to burn yourself. I have experience with fire and also great experience with injury, so I'm comfortable, careful, and I know my limits. I didn't like the weird shine that the duct tape gave. It looked really messy, so I hot glue wrapped a black ribbon around the frame. I also hot glued elastic straps on the uglier side of the frame, and I sewed each side for security, but I couldn't record it because of the angle I was in. The center of the frame looked boring to me, so I accented it with the same gold ribbon I used for her wig. Dollightful only accented one panel pink in her wings, but I got a little carried away. I smear painted pink acrylic paint on select panels with a cotton pad, and I sprinkled pink glitter onto the wet paint. I also painted over the wire with black acrylic paint because you couldn't really see the veins of the wings. I later decided to add a splash of yellow to accent and highlight the pink, and I like the way it turned out. So rather than what you see of me painting yellow after the outline, I painted the panels correctly off camera. The rest of this tutorial is self-explanatory, so I will leave you be to enjoy the rest of the video.
I have no idea how this is gonna work right now because those wings are big as hell, and my camera screen's not big enough, so I'm gonna have to show you from a distance. And you know, so surprisingly, my paint did not wash off with my tears. My eyes have been behaving, but my head is killing me because this wig is like 50 pounds and this thing is adding on to it, and it's just, my head's throbbing. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this stuff now. I only made it for this, and I don't need it anymore. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hope you learned something and you can make it too now. Don't forget to check out the other video showing you how I made the wig and the hat. And yeah, these wings are not the same. And now they're bent because I was bending them. But, sorry if that went out of focus. Yeah, they're just square and you can bend them back. So, so with that being said, have a wonderful night, morning, evening, or afternoon, whenever you're watching, and I will see you lovelies next time. Bye. Oh, my head, it hurts so bad. I should have taken a picture with this. I don't feel like putting this stuff back on.